Today, I want to talk about fruit. What it do, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Paint Wilson Variety Spectacular. So today we're going to be introducing a new segment on the show called Fruit Talk. And I was hoping that this could just be a space on the show for me to talk about some more serious subjects with you guys, just kind of get real for a little bit, while also breaking up the realness with the natural joys of delicious fruits. For today's most honorable fruity guest, we are going to be welcoming a small, ripe, North American seedless watermelon to the show. So everybody give it up for the watermelon. A professional cutter of fruits once told me that it was a good idea to kind of lob off the sides to these guys before we get started. Interesting. So I went through a bit of a rough patch last week. Finals kind of came and went, and everything was pretty chill. No spectacular failures, but I think once everything was over, I found myself in kind of an empty space. I think sometimes you finish something that's like big and unpleasant, whether that be like a shitty online semester, or you quit a job that you really don't like, or anything else where you're really releasing a lot of responsibility. It's relieving at first, just to be able to kind of relax for a minute and like take a deep breath and chill out for a while. But like then a little bit of time passes and then you're just left with yourself. And maybe you're not busy right now, maybe you're not like constantly being stimulated in your everyday life. And all of a sudden it's up to you to seek out the things that make you happy and to find like real meaning and self-worth in your own life, just to be satisfied with yourself. And that shit's hard. Like, it's really, really hard, oh my god. And that can be really, really hard, and that's what kind of fucked me up last week. So apparently I was proved wrong. This is not, in fact, a very ripe watermelon, but we're gonna continue on anyway. The cutting in half is the next good step, I would say, to take in this process. So for me, I like to find some meaning in just like everyday life through some kind of art. For me, that can be like drawing or painting. I play some instruments, I can make some of these videos. I mean, it can really be anything for me. But I'm not like a pro at any of these things by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a superstar, to say the least. And it gets so easy, I think, to just compare yourself to what other people are capable of, what somebody else can do. And it's easy to slip into the mindset of this thing that I do that I really enjoy, that I love working on, that I'm really, really passionate about, that this thing is not good, that the results of my effort are not presentable. If somebody were to see this, they would laugh at me and they would say that I was wasting my time. The example I'm thinking of right now is that I tried really hard to make a video for all you guys last week, and it just didn't flow. I wasn't having a good time filming it. I felt like shit as soon as the camera turned off. I didn't even want to look over the footage. Like I was over it. I was just mad. I was angry. I was an angry boy. Just unhappy with my art, unhappy with my life and my relationships, and just unhappy with myself overall. And this, I think, is where self-love becomes so important. When you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling dejected, when you're anxious and you're insecure, the most important step one to get yourself away from that feeling is just to recognize it. Say, hey, I'm feeling bad. And that feeling is valid, but I'm beating myself up for it. I don't deserve that. I'm not being kind to myself. How do I turn those feelings of almost self-hatred to something that feels more like self-love. And this is so important because now you shift the focus of that internal conversation from a place of, oh, I'm a piece of shit, here are all the things about me that suck, to a place of, I want to feel better. I deserve that. Now, how do I get to that place? And like, that's not an easy question to answer. This whole process is not as easy as maybe I'm making it out to sound. Feeling better is not something that happens immediately. And self-love is definitely not like a switch that you flip on Tuesday and then just leave it on for the rest of the week. Self-love is a response to the negativity and the insecurity. And it's a choice that has to be made constantly. You could think of it as like a tool that you use to patch yourself up when you're feeling broken, to put it dramatically. And even if you don't like fix the problem completely, that's totally okay. Because even though you just did like a shitty off-color patch job over a massive hole in the wall that is your life, at least you tried. And the situation is improving, however slightly. And you're no longer just sitting on the ground, upset, staring at the hole in the wall. Taking a little napkin break. If you haven't noticed, what we're doing throughout this process is we're cutting off the big slices from the big chunks and then cut in half like that, ending up with the neat little triangles. That's kind of the picture perfect watermelon vision. Yeah, the problems don't just go away. The goal is not always to make the problems disappear. And the goal should never be to ignore the problems, pretend that the problems aren't problems. Like, if I'm insecure about my art, okay, and I make a shitty video, I don't want to lie to myself and say, no, Paint, that was a really good video, because it's not. It's not a good video. What I need to do for myself in that situation is accept the problem. Accept those feelings of insecurity and frustration, and then try to respond with self-love. Like, that wasn't a great video, but I tried really hard and I learned something from making it. Or I've only been doing the video thing for like a month. So all things considered, I think there were a lot of redeeming things about that attempt. Or, okay, I made a bad video. Am I going to define myself based on my worst project? Or does this one project determine my potential as a creator or my future potential as a creator? Like, absolutely not. And the insecurity still exists. Like, the problem isn't gone, but I'm trying to remove myself from a place of I'm bad at this to a place of I'm still learning and I'm going to be able to try again. And that's what's really important. The last thing I'll say, I think, about ambition and like self-improvement is that there's definitely a time and place, I think, to compare yourself to others and what others are doing. But comparing yourself is not and cannot be the central measure of your success. When you're progressing towards some goal, the best way to facilitate your continued perseverance and growth is to validate yourself. When you finish some project, take the time to really acknowledge that what you just did is the best that there is. It's not just your best, it is the best because it is completely unique. It is a part of who you are, a completely unique individual, and you did your best. Then, like, if you want to take time later and compare yourself to another artist or another project that you really appreciate and admire to try to improve your next work or your next attempt, then that's perfect. And that's a part of growing and learning. There's just so much, I think, that we can learn from others, and that doesn't make us worse, and it doesn't make others superior. It just means that we have so many ways to grow and so many people in our communities to help us do it. Honestly, I think that's just one of the most exciting things about being human, is just learning and growing and trying to be okay with the fact that we have so much more to learn. So with that, everyone, I know that we're still going through a really rough time. I know a lot of y'all are getting final grades back. A lot of people are having a rough time in terms of like work and money. And I'm sure that a lot of y'all are struggling in some way with self-love right now. Even as we kind of transition out of a pandemic state, I think it's important to remember that going back to like normal doesn't necessarily mean that we all immediately go back to being perfectly happy. And that's okay, because there's no easy fix to all the problems that we face. But I think just be kind to yourself, show yourself some compassion, and remember that you deserve to be proud of yourself. And that's all there is to it. Now, I know that this is totally a topic that we could have talked about for hours here, and I know I'm only like scratching the surface of all the complexities and the hurdles and like the concrete strategies for self-love, but I hope that maybe you were able to take something positive out of everything that I've talked about here today. On top of that, I'm sure plenty of you have experience or valuable insight on this topic, so definitely comment below if you have anything to add that somebody might find helpful. If any of you would like to get in touch with me, continue this conversation, definitely feel free to reach out on either of my Instagrams in the description. Definitely comment any other topics that you might like to see on another episode of Fruit Talk in the future. Could be more on the serious side, could be more of a fun thing. It could be health, it could be relationships, it could be spirituality. It could be something you saw on the news or on TikTok or on a podcast. I'm down to try anything, so. Also definitely comment any fruits that you would like to see me include on a future episode. I think we could go a lot of different ways, have a lot of fun with that.
Oh my god.
I forgot to do a thumbnail. Thumbnail check. Thumbnail time. Super cute thumbnail. We might have to like enhance the red on these because this is a little lackluster. So that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this space with me. I really, really appreciate it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and I will see you all on the next episode of the Paint Wilson Variety Spectacular. Don't forget to eat 5 servings of fruits and veggies today. All right, stay hydrated, friends. Much love.